On the hearts of the stalwarts, but the days of huge crowds turning out when the circus comes to town are gone. It can be tough making a dollar to keep the show on the road, as Paul Jenkins reports.
Kids' faces, that's what circuses are all about. But in these days of computer games, of superstars promoted with all the glitz and glamour hyped up mega entrepreneurs can muster, circus seems almost out of place. Gone are the days when young boys dream of running away with the circus, the romance of life on the road, carting the big top and all its death-defying acts from town to town. Or are they? Is there still room for the circus?
Well, I'm still here, so obviously I'm not the only circus. There are about 11 circuses in Australia, and they're all on the road and doing reasonably well, I'd say.
Jean Marie Perry has spent her whole life in the circus. She now owns Sole Bros, in fact. It's more than just one lifetime of sawdust and spangles, though. She's fifth-generation circus. Her family's had this one for 120 years. And after 65 years, Jean Perry says the romance is still there.
Oh, yes, it is, of course. I mean, we had a school show today, and I think there's nothing like children coming to circuses. I mean, it really brings pleasure to them. And, yeah, the romance is still here.
Aren't you ashamed of yourselves, you people, to make money out of those animals? Because you've got a whip, and they don't have a whip.
He's petrified me. I'm going in there and kill him.
But it's not all milk and honey these days. Animal livers are just one of the contemporary difficulties circuses have to face. And circus owners, as they always have, argue that their animals are well cared for and lead a busy, interesting life. Add to that rising costs, competition from movie theatres, television, sports, royal shows, and it can be tough making a dollar.
Well, I think every business is tough this day and age, you know. I don't think we'll ever be millionaires for owning a circus, but it's fun and I like the job, and as long as you keep your head above water, I'm happy.
Getting hold of and keeping quality acts is also difficult, particularly in Australia, where circus isn't quite the same tradition as it is in Europe.
In Australia, we haven't a lot of talent that are learning. The families now, a lot of them stay with their own shows, so I have to go over to Europe every few years and get fresh acts. There's plenty of acts in Europe because, you know, there are so many circuses over there, and it's a way of life for those artists. They never leave the circus, generations.
There have been a few generations in this circus too, I guess.
Yes. I don't know how, when my son's still here, my daughter at the moment, she's has a circus just for the 2 weeks in Sydney, so it's still in her blood too. But my grandchildren, what's going to happen then, it's hard to say.
As much as the circus relies on top acts, it needs strong backs, roustabouts to put up and pull down the big top, for example. From Jean Perry's viewpoint, life in the 80s doesn't encourage young people to go for that sort of work. She reckons it's too tough for them. And there's no real incentive to work anyway.
I think these days, you know, with the dole, I mean, kiddies can't get work when they leave school, so they get on to the dole, and when they have to do a hard day's work, they don't like that, you know, they're not used to it. See, we used to get farm boys and boys that were used to working hard. It's not all that hard, but did a few heavy poles and things, and just continuous.
But for all its problems, she says she wouldn't swap it for anything. Wouldn't know what to do with life outside the ring and away from the grease paint. It's in her blood.
I was born into the circus. My mother worked in London, but Sole Brothers were still going in Australia, and they went over there and worked in all the different circuses, and I was born in London, so I've been in it all my life, and I'm 65, so I don't know where I'll run away from it.
That's getting towards retirement age, surely.
I think I'm past that, haven't I?
Do you ever think about getting out?
Well, you know, I suppose, you know, we travel around so much, and every town I think, oh, this is nice, I wouldn't mind making a home here, but I've seen so many nice places, I can't make my mind up. Then what would I do? I'd be sitting, I can't knit, and I'd be sitting worrying myself all day, what can I do next?
Well, what's in store on
International singing sensation